Good morning, everybody. This is Kevin Nethercott with the CPaaS Acceleration Alliance with another great session with a couple of our newest members here at the Alliance. We're excited today to have Brianna Sullivan from NUSO and Tim McLean from Commio joining us. They both lead their marketing organizations and so have great insight in what the company's doing, how they're growing, and a number of their customers and case studies. We look forward to learning more about them and their companies. And for those that hang on to the end, I think we've got some really cool use cases that they're going to share of how communications, CPaaS, and technology will help their customers. And I think we can learn a lot from that as well. So, Brianna, let's start with you. If you could give us maybe a little personal introduction and then some background on NUSO.
It's good. Good morning, Kevin, Tim, everybody else. Brianna Sullivan. I have been in the general telecom ecosystem for about 10 years now. I've had a variety of roles ranging from operations to product to deal desk and offer management, technical buying, and now at NUSO, I'm the VP of Marketing, Product, and Communications. Based out of Denver, Colorado, and very excited that hiking season is upon us. So I'll talk a little bit about NUSO as well. NUSO historically was a UCaaS and SIP trunking provider selling directly through the channel. But today we've really evolved and become more of a software first, just cloud communications provider. So we sell a full stack of services, meaning we have services at the application layer. So we have a branded Simply Connect application for business text messaging. We have cloud comm services, like I mentioned, like UCaaS and SIP trunking. We also have carrier services and network. Our main goal is transparency. So both in the way that we interact internally, but as well as how we sell to both our channel partners and customers. And we have a focus on growing up in the channel environment. You really have to have a very specific focus on customer service. And I know everybody says that, but a lot of our organizations really have been kind of built around that high touch, white glove SMB customer service approach.
Excellent, excellent. I hear you on the better weather and hiking. We've had so much snow here in Salt Lake City. It's finally
Yes.
melting to the point where we can get up in the mountains. So very much looking forward to that for sure. All right, Tim, can you give us a little introduction there?
Sure. So I'm Tim McLean, Director of Marketing here at Commio. We are sort of the fusion of both Think and Telly. Of course, Telly was based out there in Denver, and we're excited to finally have all of us under the new tent of Commio. I like to tell people you've heard of Twilio, Nexmo, Plivo. I think we're the better representation of those services and in a delivery standpoint as Commio with communication really in our name. And, Kevin, we were talking before the session. I think it is important for people to understand that, for all the talk about CPaaS, we're talking sort of at the top as an application layer like Twilio. There's people like Commio that really, we're here sort of at the bottom where we basically build our business and our go-to-market around basically being a bring your own carrier solution. So a lot of things that Brianna just touched on, we also offer. We started, SIP trunking, building our network of 45 high quality carriers and allowing you to bolt that into any application or Twilio application or pretty much anything you need through an API or through our platform. So we also focus really heavily on customer support. We have 100% US based support. We do not charge for support, as Twilio has started to do. And we really find that the source of our success has been going one-on-one. And, as the marketing guy, I work on all the inbound activity that comes into the business. And we have lots of, I was on 4 meetings yesterday where we're basically helping to use our APIs and our platform to build a solution, whether it's on the voice side or the messaging side, that works for our customers. And we want to see them grow and support them, all the way. So we're continuing to bolt on new sort of services and sort of CPaaS types of applications and solutions. But really at our core, we like to say if you look at Twilio, you really, their carrier layer is a black box, and it's also really expensive. So when people start to grow and hit an inflection point of cost, that's when they find Commio, and we'd love to talk to them about how to scale and save money and have great support, and do all the things that we've been talking about. Oh, and by the way,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. And Kevin, I got to give a shout out to Raleigh. So we're based here in Raleigh. We're actually right near the Hurricanes stadium. And it's probably been the best spring we've ever had in the history of, I've been here 23 years. What a year. It's been great. So also like to get out there and mountain bike, and we've got trails like you wouldn't believe around here. So anyway, shout out to Raleigh.
very nice, very nice. No, I think most of the country's enjoyed a better spring than usual. We're barely hitting 80 degrees for the first time here this weekend, and so we've enjoyed the coolness as well. So both of you, both NUSO and Commio, are two of our newer members here
Mhm.
at the CPaaS Acceleration Alliance. And now that you're members, the insider word for that is CPaaSA. So you're part of the CPaaSA club here.
Love
And
it.
so Tim, what brought you to the Alliance, and what do you hope to get out of the experience here?
Yeah, I think the thing I'm most excited about is just sharing best practices, and learning from folks like Brianna and all the other sort of CPaaS folks that want to come together and share best practices. And I love that it's basically a safe space to sort of share M&A, share common concerns, and what are we hearing from our customers. And we were on a panel just yesterday, Kevin, and it's so much talk about compliance right now. The whole market is sort of upside down, and how do we help support our customers with the best possible information to keep them out of trouble with the FCC, or the upstream text messaging gateways. And as a marketer, it's never been a better time, I think, more exciting time to be in this position of being able to communicate openly, honestly with our customers to help keep them on track. So it's been, I mean, it's funny to say that it's fun and exciting. I think for most of our customers, they'd say it's the exact opposite. But if you, if you can keep them informed and up to date, and have a good support team to help keep them out of trouble, I mean, it's obviously pretty straightforward to not run afoul of those things. But and Brianna, I think you'd agree that the industry just in the last even 2 years has changed so much. That we're not really talking about features and functionality. We're talking about customer success, customer experience, and compliance. Those are sort of the top three that I'm getting from from new customers and current customers today.
Absolutely. Brianna, if you want to share a few thoughts on that front.
Sure. Tim's answer was so great. So I agree with everything that he said. Additionally, I think there's a personal impact to joining an organization like this. Several folks at NUSO have longstanding relationships with individuals like Kevin, and so we're personally motivated. As well as I really love just the brand awareness that also comes from joining an organization. I love meeting new people, new faces like Tim. There are just so many more industry insights that you can get when talking with folks that you've been talking to for years, and just seeing how those individuals and those businesses evolve over time, as well as talking with folks that you might not have had a direct relationship with in the past. So yeah, everything that Tim said plus more. We're excited to be a part of the Alliance.
Well, we sure
Great.
appreciate it, and I'm excited to have you here for a couple of reasons. One is you're both from the marketing side, right? So I think too often when we get into conversations, it's all about the technology,
Yep.
and what we're finding through our members and even the roundtable that you mentioned yesterday, Tim, is that it's not the technology that's the difficult part anymore. It really is kind of the go-to-market side of the business. And so I think that the marketing role is going to have a bigger and bigger role to play as we move forward as an industry. And so I'm excited to have you both, personally engaged, particularly in the roles that you have inside the organization. Um, One of the areas where I wanted to start the conversation, and Tim, you started kind of alluded to this as part of your introduction, but when we talk about CPaaS, we often think immediately of the other O companies, right? Where they've essentially created a pure play where they're coming over the top into the business to provide services. Now, both of your organizations, I would argue, have gone bottoms up, where you've spent years and years building out high quality networks, starting with voice and SIP trunking and so forth, and you've followed the industry as it's grown, and you've been there at the next step to be there for your customer. And so, Brianna, maybe you could share a little bit more about kind of the evolution of NUSO and how you've gotten from plain old SIP trunking to now, having these really cool solutions for customers that they're in need of.
Absolutely. And it does feel like an evolution. Often when I describe what we do or all that we provide, it ends up being a really long list. And sometimes it's helpful to walk through the history and how we got to this place. So yes, we do have a bit of a layered history. We started on the UCaaS SIP trunking, kind of exclusively selling those services through the channel. We've had several strategic acquisitions over the last few years, one of which brought us SMS or business messaging services, as well as we acquired carrier assets. And through that acquisition, I think NUSO was really introduced to kind of the CPaaS space in general. We have a CPaaS platform, which I can talk about a little bit, but it really aligned, just the concept of CPaaS and providing access to services through kind of like microservices really aligned with our belief in democratizing services for users of all sizes. So we really want to provide access to cloud communications technologies to users really regardless of size. So while I think, and I do think a lot of those kind of CPaaSAs at the over the top folks, they have their niches, but I think some of the strategy is to continue to go up market to the largest enterprises, and we're just really so well suited to serve kind of like SMB space and smaller enterprises. So we really want to be able to provide that access to all companies, regardless of size. Now, we also have the capability of enabling what I'll call adjacent technologies. So NUSO has kind of our own proprietary platforms that folks can buy directly, white label, etc. But we are also enabling other adjacent technologies like Microsoft Teams and Zoom. So providing kind of that access to those platforms that maybe users may or may not have had kind of direct or seamless access to in the past, especially if they're smaller organizations. In addition to that, I don't know if it's at the top or if it's the bottom, but we also have our carrier network. So the carrier assets that we acquired through the acquisition I mentioned has gotten us to the place now where we have a branded solution called NUSO Flex, but it's our fully owned IPES network that really sits atop multiple CLEC networks. So our fully meshed environment, excuse me, has multiple PSTN on-ramps as well as multiple virtual cloud and IP-based networks. All that means is that for especially in the carrier space, kind of redundancy on outbound voice or toll-free voice is just expected. But we've been able to provide redundancy on that local inbound voice service. So not only when there are impairments in the PSTN, local fiber cut, fire under the bridge, just like car accident, real world scenarios that impact our virtual communication abilities. So we're able to address those impairments, but there's also potentially a degradation of service even just after porting. So there's translations issues can happen in carrier networks where if legacy carriers are used to sending voice traffic in one particular way destined to a particular OCN, we're able to mitigate some of those issues because we have a multi OCN strategy. So bit of a long answer, I guess, but yeah, multi-layered services. We have built it kind of bottom up, and I think because of that, we do feel different, and I believe that we sit in kind of a different space than just traditional or original, I should say, CPaaS providers.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. I think the bottom line of that explanation is that you can guarantee quality, I think, above, those that are maybe buying services over the top. Is
Good
I
summary.
think a good way to summarize that. So Tim, as we look at Commio,
Mhm.
if you could share a little bit more about the bottoms up approach, and
Yep.
then also, you've got your marketing hat on there. I'd love to hear about the growth strategy for Commio and where you think the future lies.
Yeah, I think to summarize what Brianna has said, and I think even to summarize, I think what the true value of CPaaS really brings is addressing the reality that not all carriers are good everywhere all the time, every day. There are going to be service interruption issues. There's going to be quality issues, and the real reason that Commio, we used to be called Think, before we changed and rebranded. The reason that Think came into existence was because our co-founders were out there in the marketplace and saw that there were big players out there, like Bandwidth, for instance, who had these massive networks, but they hid all of the best stuff behind their corporate walls. And what's that good stuff? Well, it's addressing the need to allow customers to have and deliver a great customer experience with communications. And the old world way of doing that was creating a network and then forcing your customers to log a support ticket and then pray and hope that it was addressed in a timely manner. So our co-founders said, we see all these tools on the back end. Let's make them facing to the customer so that they can take their fate and their issues into their own hands, and instead of taking hours or days, solve problems in minutes. So when Think came onto the market, we were the first ones to really offer, SIP ladders, call research tools, and a web interface and then APIs that allow people to take carriers. We have 45 today. We are a VLEC/CLEC. Which means we can buy the phone numbers just like the real big players out there, but also give people this fine-grained control that people have never have before, have ever had before. So they can log into our platform or use our APIs to say, hey, we're having call quality issues at this NPA or NXX level. Put in a route block for a day, a week, whatever, and be able to have them come in and turn those things on and off to be basically solve for customer experience issues. So when we bring all that together, I think we're solving real business problems for our customers, and that's what brings them to us. Is they're just, they want to be able to have that level of control. They want it to be simple, and they also want it to be super cost effective. So you can bring all the best things about having a multi-carrier, multi-layer, multi-redundant network. Brianna, it's interesting you mentioned about inbound redundancy. That's something that we now offer as well, where it's not just everybody knows what a least cost routing LCR engine looks like. At our core, we call it intelligent call routing. But on the inbound side now, with the ability to move people between, inbound providers for where those phone numbers are actually originating, really finally gives somebody, our customers, the ability to solve a call quality issue, I would say, from dial to delivery on both ends. So that's something new. And I think, Kevin, you were mentioning, where's the growth? I think that's really where the growth is going to come from Commio, is really putting a product label on this, both inbound and outbound redundancy and ability to take full control with an API or an interface. And that'll be something that'll be, very new to the market that we're excited to bring this year and into next year. Um, so, I mean, I think as a summary, that's
Yeah.
that's what I continue to like to talk about, and that's why I brought a case study to talk about. One of our customers, that the reason they came to us is because they're trying to deliver calls into rural markets. That's consistently a challenge, and you know they're called Service Titan. They're able to log into our platform, and he logs probably 6, 7, 8 route changes, route blocks on a daily basis, and turns things on and off. And he never has to file a support ticket with us. So that's what's exciting for me, is taking all this and wrapping it together as really a fully functional, CLEC, VLEC that puts the control in the hands of our customers, not the guys in the white lab coats or whatever behind the curtain, waiting for support
Right.
tickets to come in.
So how does a company like that find you? What's your typical
Yeah.
go-to-market strategy, and how would somebody listening to us today find Commio?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, easiest way to go is just go to commio.com. That's with two M's, and take a look at our website. But yeah, as a marketer, so I've spent years, perfecting or trying to perfect, I should say, because Google will never let it be perfect. Our SEO strategy for people to be able to find us. But I would say that most people find us because they are looking for, SIP trunking, voice communication services, and then eventually they sort of move into the text messaging space. But I will say, Kevin, to get the heart of it, a lot of our customers are current Twilio users that age out. Age out, or they grow out of Twilio. So, I'm on these calls where they're like, look, they want like 5 grand and they want to start charging me for support for things that I used to not have to pay for because I'm growing too fast, and I need more than 3 calls per second, and they want all this, money, and I need to grow. And we say, well, look, with us, the capacity is built in. We're not going to charge you extra for support, but on top of it, as you scale up, we're going to make sure that your costs are, stay in line with your cost of goods sold, and that it won't break your bank. So, mostly it would be, a lot of our customers are current Twilio users that can keep everything that makes Twilio great. Like, that's fine. Build your solution there, but there's that bring your own carrier layer that you can plug into Twilio, and get so much more value out of Twilio by allowing us to take on the call routing and delivery. We'd say let Twilio handle the, sort of the internal, beginnings of everything right up until the point where they hit the button to make a call, and then let us do the rest. So that,
I
and
see.
also, we sell directly to, enterprises, contact centers, anybody who wants a fully redundant 45 plus carrier network with messaging built on top. We just become that all-in-one solution that, that makes it work for them and keep the costs in line.
Yeah, no, I think as we look at, I mean, we use the term CPaaS here a lot, right? But really what that is the technology stack in the back. And that enables the customer experience to improve, the employee experience to improve. And so I think what you're describing there is how the customer takes advantage of all that cool stuff in the background, and you're able to deliver the pieces, whether that's a bite size or the whole solution, you're able to kind of plug in and make that happen. So that's awesome. Brianna, how about on the NUSO side? What are you seeing as your paths to growth? What's the typical way that you're now going to market? Is it still exclusive to channel? Do you have direct sales? What tell us a little bit more about your the day in a life in the marketing chair there, and how you're helping grow NUSO.
It is a a bit of whack-a-mole. Tim mentioned one platform that makes it difficult. Marketing's There's always something new. So specifically from a marketing perspective, it's I think there's a bit of a strategy in just having an omni-channel presence. So there are kind of technical capabilities, technical SEO that you can do, kind of keyword SEO. There are in-person events. There's virtual events like this. There's alliances you can join. But NUSO in general, we absolutely still see growth through our channel. That's not going to change. That's just such a key part of foundationally not only how we came into existence, but also just the reputation, the relationships that we've built with our direct channel partners. That remains key to us for sure. But we also have plenty of relationships on the carrier side as well. So we have, I think, over 250 regulated carriers in North America that are customers of ours. So that is and growing, and that is also a part of our growth strategy. So we do have kind of tailored, I would say tailored experiences, tailored sales experiences, tailored technology experiences, because those buyer personas are just so different. But in addition to, so we plan on continuing to grow organically, just as we always have. We're developing a bunch of new technologies right now, some of which I mentioned earlier, just around our own kind of proprietary application layer, but then also a lot of just adjacent technology enablement, like I was saying. So we're seeing a ton of opportunity there in some of the kind of strategic partnerships, either through those platform providers or through distributors that we've already established. And I think we've also had some of our growth just through a few successful acquisitions. So I do also see M&A as being a part of our future growth. And I don't know if you want me to talk about that now or if you want me to address that a bit later.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I think that was a good time to kind of share because I see what we're seeing, as an industry. A lot of the UCaaS players had this huge growth, and then we've had this consolidation through M&A. And so now I think there's a lot of eyes on kind of the CPaaS cloud communication space on, what's next there. And so clearly both of your companies have grown a bit through M&A. So if you have a bit more to share, that'd be great to hear.
Sure. It has been really interesting just seeing the consolidation over the last few years, particularly a few years ago, but and just how that has, and in some cases has not changed our ecosystem at all. But so for NUSO specifically, we've had several successful acquisitions over the last few years. One really established our kind of international footprint. And I say international, it's more global or outside of North America, which is where we're based. We're US based. But it really helped establish our footprint both in technology, but then also in personnel. So we have folks over in the UK. The other acquisition that I mentioned really that brought us to the CPaaS space expanded our CPaaS kind of knowledge, technical capabilities, as well as our carrier assets in North America specifically. Our leadership team remains actively engaged in M&A circles in the ecosystem. That will not change. We do see it as a part of our growth. Now, of course, I think there's plenty of opportunity out there, and it just is a matter of what makes sense for the business and what you're really kind of looking to achieve. So, I can't. That's probably as specific as I can get, but it really does need to make sense. We're actively in the circuits. We're open to conversations, but it of course has to make sense for all parties involved, and that's our goal, is for a kind of a long-lasting, valuable transaction for everybody involved.
Okay. No, I appreciate that input. I think, as I mentioned, just a moment ago, that we're going to see a lot of that, and we actually do have bankers as members of the Alliance because of that, right? So we think there's a community here where there's going to be maybe a little bit of matchmaking taking place over time as we get to know each other. That'll be mutually beneficial as well. So as we kind of look at our time wrapping up here a little bit, I wanted to get a sense of where each of you are going to be over the next month or so. Is it vacation time? Are there more shows? Are you on the road? Tim, what's happening in Raleigh over the coming weeks?
Well, we're still all upset that we didn't make it to the Stanley Cup, but what are you going to do? We did our best. No, I'd say that we've got a team on the ground today actually at Customer Contact Week. What a show that is. And honestly, here at Commio, we don't do a ton of trade shows. I'd like to do some more as we get ready to look to next year. But I think in the meantime, we're really we're just on the other side of our tele integration being complete, which is really exciting for our customers. And we're looking to build out, I mentioned the inbound redundancy. So we're really kind of keeping things in house, for the next couple of weeks / months. And I will say on top of it, I don't know, Brianna, I would love to see if you could plug anything you got coming out from the marketing side of your house. But we're really working diligently on a really up-to-date ebook around voice and messaging compliance. In fact, tomorrow, Michael Tyndall, one of our co-founders, we've got so many people registered for this, but we're doing a webinar tomorrow about talking about kind of everything you think you might know about Stir Shaken is wrong. I know that's a pretty straightforward, tough title, but in a way it's true. It's just, we started this off talking about the need to communicate with customers about compliance, and it just continues to be something that we really harp on. So I think that's really where we're going to be focusing, is on customer education, post-tele, integration with our messaging services, and then working on, inbound redundancy to match with our outbound redundancy. So there's never a dull moment here at Commio, for sure.
Nope. This business is 24/7, 7 days a week. That's for sure. Yeah, exactly. How about you, Brianna? Do you have you out in the mountains this weekend? What's on the docket for you?
I hope so. That is my plan. I do hope to actually start a bit of the Colorado Trail this weekend. So fingers crossed that the weather holds up. I was also hoping to head to Raleigh in the next month or two. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I lived out there for a few years myself and haven't been back since December. So personally, hopefully a little bit of travel, a little bit of outdoor adventure. Trade show wise, late April, May was a huge trade show season for NUSO. And so I wouldn't call it a lull, maybe a lull. It's a little quieter right now. It will pick back up October. I think we have like 10 events that we're going to or something. It's going to be another crazy month. Some of the upcoming events, so several of which are also kind of channel specific, but some of the events I was just peeking over my shoulder. I have my list of events up on my second screen all the time for me to reference. We do plan on going to the CPaaS Acceleration Alliance event in September 18th through 20th in Amsterdam. That is on our list. We also are planning on going to Zoomtopia. There's a few different shows, UC based and kind of carrier based in London in October that we plan on going to. So UC Excel London and Capacity Europe. We're going to go to Encompass down in Tampa, and a few others kind of across the board. So October will be kind of September, October timeframe. It's going to pick back up for us, and that'll likely be we all wear multiple hats, but I'll probably wear that hat for a while in the fall.
Right. No, I think, for us that have been in the marketing side of the house or the sales side, it's you have winter, spring, summer, show season, and then winter. So it's but we never get much of a fall because we're out traveling about. So albeit a number of those events, we're super excited to host everyone in Amsterdam, September 18th through the 20th. Appreciate you mentioning that, and excited to have you there. And otherwise, I think we're at a really interesting time for us as an industry, and super excited again to have you as members as we look to coordinate and work together to build your brand and build the industry and grow the market from that 16 billion to 100 billion that we talked about in our recent State of CPaaS report. So once again, appreciate your time today. Look forward to doing this again in the near future, and have a great rest of your week. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks for your time.